as well. Thank you, Shifumi. Yeah, so we'll just wait a few more minutes to make sure everyone gets in. And please do, if you haven't already, change your name so that it has your team name in brackets. That'll make it easier for us to spotlight you when it's time for your team to present. And we do have the, like this, we do have the team list. You guys probably already saw which order you'll be going in, and we'll be popping that into the chat periodically as well too, so you can double check and see where you're at. And yeah, so just to give another quick rundown of how it'll work, you'll get 5 minutes to present and 3 minutes for Q&A. So we do ask that you do try to keep to the time so that there is enough. Oh, someone's asking their guest, what should they write? You can put that you're a guest if you're a prospective student, an alumni, a industry partner, whatever you might be. You can call yourself whatever you'd like. But yeah, so we do ask that you try to keep to time. That way there's enough time for people to ask you questions as well, so we can keep on track for everybody too. Yeah, so we'll just give it a few more minutes. Again, just want to say how excited I am and how proud of all of you. It has been a quick but long 8 weeks. I know you guys have all been working really, really hard. Asha's asking us to post the team order. We can definitely do that. One quick second. Let's grab that. Do have one team that was unable to make it today, so there's a bit of an adjustment, but here we go. Perfect. Great, lots of action in the chat. I can't even keep up with it. Great to see. A lot of people are really excited to see your projects. Awesome. And yeah, do try to ask questions in the chat while teams are presenting. That way we can get you to read them out, or we can read them out after as well too, to kind of keep things moving along too. Great.
Before we start, I just wanted to also just pop in and say again, congrats to everyone. I know you'll be hearing that throughout today. Excited to hear the presentations. We have mentors who will be in here. We also have supporters, recruiters, hiring managers, guests, friends, and family in the audience. So really looking forward to hearing the presentation, rooting for you, and just like seeing and celebrating the amazing progress. So we should be starting like shortly. So just like do your breathing exercises, all of that stuff. Another reminder that when your team is presenting, your cameras do have to be on so that we can spotlight you, so you can easily share your screen and all of that, and also enable you to speak, so we'll be muting and unmuting you. So yeah, all of that good stuff. So yeah, can't wait to get started.
Awesome. All right, I think we're going to get started. I hope you're all ready. Did enough breathing like Shifumi suggested. I know I need to do that. But yeah, so first up we have Firstly. So we will be spotlighting you. Again, make sure your cameras are on like Shifumi said. Super important. All right, you guys can take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you for unmuting me. I was struggling there. Is it okay if I share my screen now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Hang on 1 second. Thanks. Okay. Okay, cool. We got the screen shared. All right, awesome. So hi, everyone. We're Team Firstly. I'm Ashley, and I'm our product manager, and I'm joined by Christine, our designer, and then GP and Gigi, our devs. And then our mentor throughout this process was Ashika. All right, so let's talk talk about online dating. It's obviously a huge industry. It's a $3 billion a year industry with 300 million people worldwide using web and or mobile applications for dating. There's tons of products out there that help users find a date, but those products don't help users like have a good time on the date. And we at Firstly want to help with that, because even though online dating is really fun and pretty much ubiquitous at this point, it can be really stressful. So during our user research interviews, 100% of people reported feeling nervous before a date. They're nervous specifically about the quality of conversation on the date, and they experience self-doubt and lack confidence in themselves. The majority of people we interviewed report feeling most nervous right before the date starts. So this is Shannon, and she experiences those same pain points. She's our user persona, and she feels all those same things, but a good date for her means she feels relaxed and experiences laughter. She wants to feel confident and enjoy natural conversation and feel like her date is, actively trying to get to know her. So we set out to figure out how we might help daters like Shannon feel more prepared for a first date so that they feel less nervous before and during the date. To help with that, Firstly offers 3 key features. Number 1, or I guess Firstly, I should say, is a questionnaire for Shannon to provide information about herself and her date via multiple choice, multi-select questions. 2 is curated conversation starters based on that questionnaire. They're meant to be fun, creative, and open-ended. And then lastly, there's kind of small confidence boosters, pick-me-ups, words of encouragement that are visible throughout the Firstly journey. And so now we will go ahead and take a quick look. So here you'll see Shannon log in, and then she'll start the questionnaire as soon as she's logged in. She'll see these small delightful features throughout. And then she'll go through the questionnaire, and you guys will notice an overall simple aesthetic, calming colors. And now she's going to receive her curated conversation starters based on those questions. They can be favorited or refreshed if Shannon doesn't want to use that question. And then at the end, Firstly, we'll connect Shannon with some music to help her feel pumped up and confident right before her date. All right. Oops, sorry. Okay, so in making Firstly, we learned a lot. And so now I'm going to turn it over to GP to talk about what he learned.
Hey guys, so my name is GP. I'm a developer of Firstly. And my journey throughout CoLab, at Firstly, CoLab was an amazing opportunity to learn about the initial phases of product development, like, user research, creating a user persona, user testing, and understanding how handoffs work from designers to developers. And also, this is the first time I'm working with one of the biggest teams I've worked with, and I learned how to properly navigate through Jira, how to create tickets, and also move big tickets from like backlogs to what we're doing right now and reviews. So like I said, CoLab has given me some amazing opportunity to learn those critical aspects of working in a team environment. I'm going to pass stuff to Christine to talk about her experience.
Awesome. Thanks, GP. Yeah, I feel like one huge learning that I took from CoLab and just from being on Team Firstly is just having a really open line of communication amongst the PM as well as the developers. I think like flexing my design muscles and going through my design process, but also incorporating everybody was huge for me, and gave me like realistic and like feasible expectations, I guess, when it came to like handing off and what we can do within our 8-week time constraint, or practically 7 weeks. So I definitely feel like that just improved my confidence, taking that into the real world. And yeah, I think that was the biggest takeaway for me, and couldn't have imagined my journey as a designer without CoLab. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Gigi.
Hello everyone, I am one of the developers on the team. One of my key learning when I was in COLAB was collaboration. When working together, there are always new things that I can learn from other team members. Another one of my learning was communication. It is very important going that extra step to ensure progress, always checking in with my team member regularly and making sure our productivity is high. Now I would pass it to Ashley.
Yeah, so thank you guys. It was a great experience with CoLab. I definitely grew in my leadership and product management specific skills, specifically guiding our team using agile methodologies. I think we all learned the value of keeping our scope simple and building on a really solid foundation. And then I learned to be really comfortable with the unknown and kind of balance staying organized with being ready to pivot based on user feedback and, just working really well in this awesome team. And so, yeah, thank you guys so much. And we at Firstly look forward to helping people feel calm and ready to converse. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you guys so much. So yeah, we can open it up to questions. Let me quickly scroll back in the chat and see what we've got. Let me just see here. Rachel asks, love this idea. Were there any features you had initially set out to build that you ultimately moved out of the MVP? I'll unmute you again.
Thank you. Sorry, there was some noise. I'm obviously at work, so sorry about that. Yeah, so there wasn't, we intentionally did keep our scope small and really wanted to work on those key features, but we've definitely talked about things we would have liked to build. Certainly, not that it's a different feature, but we would have liked to increase the number of questions in our questionnaire and the bank of conversation starters, but with a high content and copywriting burden, that didn't happen. We've talked about incorporating rating anxiety levels to really kind of measure our hypothesis that that using Firstly would decrease anxiety. So we would need that. And then we've also talked about how next iterations would like to include some analytics and kind of see what users like.
Awesome. Great. Another question from Mish. I love the specific features of Delight, example, Spotify integration. How did you come up with this and how is it validated with users?
Yeah, so I'll touch on that real quick, and then Christine, if you wanted to jump in. Yeah, I mean, since we were focused so much on confidence and addressing people's anxiety, we did definitely want to include delightful features kind of throughout. But since our scope was fairly narrow, we were kind of thinking of ways we could incorporate it into the questionnaire. We definitely got positive feedback right off the bat, specifically about the playlist. So that was just one of the things there.
Yeah, I would say that what a lot of our user research when it came to interviewing prospective Firstly users was that before a date, because they're extremely anxious or nervous, what they do to calm down while they're getting ready or on their way to their date is pumping up really good music. And so it was funny because at first I was like, oh, I didn't even I mean, I thought that, yeah, music does pump you up, but I guess it's a good, coping or confidence boosting mechanism. And so for our first iteration, we actually did one specific song, and doing usability testing, users were mentioning, oh, can I pick my own song, or is there a playlist that we can play instead? How do you know to use this one specific song? And so that's how we decided to pivot to doing a confidence boost playlist. But yeah, just like Ashley said, we got a lot of positive reviews from that, and yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. There are a few more questions in the chat, but we need to move on. So definitely pop into the chat and answer those questions as well. Really great job, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll get set up for the next team. We will be unspotlighting Firstly, and the next team is Cohabit. One quick thing to remember is that you are automatically muted. So if we ask you to unmute if an option pops up on the screen. You do need to remain unmuted. If you have to mute because you have a loud background, a dog like mine who likes to bark, definitely reach out to us in the chat and we can unmute you when you're ready to talk as well too. So no problem. All right, team, I think you've got everybody for today. Whenever you're ready, you can screen share and get started.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just because we are on a mobile app. Mobile app, I will also need you to bring my phone onto the stage.
Oh, sure. What is the name of your phone?
My name.
Your name. Okay, okay. I only see one Jerome.
Oh shoot. And I have the accents in there.
Oh. Let me see if I can. Yep, okay, I see it. You will have to turn on the video for your phone.
Well, you see me twice then.
There you go. Oh, I have to ask your phone to unmute if there's sound or no? Leave it muted.
Wait, are you hearing me twice?
Yep.
Uh,
I'll mute your phone. And I will unmute you.
okay. All right, everyone. My name is Jerome Matching. I'm the product manager for Cohabit, and you can see my team's beautiful faces on the screen right now. Over the past few weeks, we've been working on this product together, and as young professionals, really looking to challenge ourselves, we decided to start off with just that, achieving your goals. I think a lot of people can relate when I say that we often set ambitious goals for ourselves, but we rarely ever achieve all of them. We get overwhelmed, lose discipline, or just life gets in the way. Achieving a goal is tough, as it should be. So we decided to do a little bit of digging and asked around our friends. I did some Google searches, and we identified 3 key pain points when trying to achieve your goals. The first one is that goals often start off as ambitions, but never turn into formal goals. Research actually shows that only 3% of Americans write down their goals, even though it makes you 42% more likely to achieve them. And even if that idea garners enough desire and momentum, it's tough to decide where to go from there. How to devise a plan to achieve that goal, how to get to that desired state. Now, even then, let's say you identify what you want to get to, plan out how to get there. It's now about execution. It's often tough to keep up that drive and motivation over time. And that's why it's key to set in some key systems to keep up that discipline. With all this in mind, we devised a plan for us as to how we want to solve these issues. And I'll actually share my screen on my phone for this one. Okay, good. So as you can see, let me actually get to the empty state. All right. And basically what we've developed so far is allowed users to be able to add a habit, specify what it is. So let's say you want to read 10 pages every day. And you can select it like that, create a habit, and then log in easily when you do a habit. And we've had a lot of issues with even getting to that point, given that our developers weren't really familiar with app development. So we have a lot of features that we're looking to develop. So that would be a statistics dashboard that would let users get insights into their habits. So for example, at what time of the day do they normally complete their habits, or if there's any pattern emerging over the week. And then also the whole social aspect of it, which has been a really big challenge for us that we've tried to do, especially in the past week. where you'd be able to post and share your habits with everyone else, and also start group challenges. So to really like leverage that social level together. And with that, I'll open the floor to my teammates to talk about their learnings. Slava?
Just making sure you guys are unmuted.
Yeah,
You'll
sorry,
get
I
it.
was muted. So yeah, COLAB definitely taught me the value of open communication with my team. As a developer, it's important to be transparent about what features are feasible for MVP. Furthermore, working with a cross-functional team full of product managers, designers, and other developers has taught me has been a new experience for me, and taught me how a real-life team would work. I feel like it prepared me for future development opportunities in my career. Thank you. Off to Shrikant.
Hi, thank you, Slava. Hi, everyone. Actually, through this project, I learned to work with a team working on agile principles, and how to, efficiently manage my time and prioritize the product features to publish a MVP in a given time. And also, I learned how to tackle the challenges like going through the vast amount of documentations about some technologies, and how to solve the bugs by researching the solutions. Yeah, that is the main key things I learned from this project work. And I thank my team and COLAB for this great opportunity. Thank you, everyone. To Kenya.
I don't know if we have enough time. Sorry. Just to wrap it up really quickly, thanks to this opportunity, I was able to learn more about how to properly communicate with a team, especially about MVP features, and I learned more about React Native and mobile development.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly finish. For me, I think the biggest challenge was like balancing all the different responsibilities or commitments we had. I think for a lot of the team, especially in the second half, we did have some traveling happening, some other personal issues, or like, for example, some of our teammates got a job. So balancing all of that was really challenging, but I think we were able to manage in the end. And now we're open to any of your questions.
Awesome. Great job, guys. Thank you for touching on that, some of the challenging things as well, too, because it is real world, right? So that's great. So we do have a few questions. From Ashka, we have, what's the motivation behind a user going into the app and entering they have completed their habit for the day? Are these done through push notifications?
Yeah, so I can speak to that. One of the features we're trying to incorporate right now is to set up push notifications to remind the users to complete their habits, as well as using that social aspect to keep them on track, and with that social accountability feature. And then also we want to gamify the whole experience with, for example, streaks that you want to keep up, and then also a leaderboard and a visual progress bar for everyone else to see. And that will really motivate the user to keep on working on their habits and logging in on the app.
Great. A next question from Mish. What were the biggest challenges y'all faced, and what were some of the practices y'all had crafted for collaboration?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges we've had was definitely mobile development, because I don't think none of the developers were really familiar with it at first. And even for myself, that was my first experience really managing that team. So we spent quite a bit of time actually getting familiar with React and React Native and stuff to really be able to even be in a position to start something. And I don't know, I can't really speak to how the developers managed to overcome that, but for me it was mostly a lot of like patience and really just maybe waiting on the sidelines, even though it might not be the most fun part, and trusting my teammates, which was a really big learning for me.
All right, and we do have time for one more question. Jacob asks, what would you say is your biggest takeaway from doing web versus mobile development? Good question. Developers, do you want me to unmute you?
I'd like to go first to answer that. I would say that it's definitely like a whole difference in challenge. And it's a whole challenge and difference between stuff like hosting or running your emulator, because then your emulator will have problems. Whereas usually with web development, I could just look at my console and kind of like see where that problem is specifically. So definitely a change in background, I want to say. But overall, it was a really fun challenge to be like, oh, okay, this is why that works.
Yeah, definitely to echo Kenya's point, there's a big difference between, let's say, Android Studio and just web development in general, and how it looks on the iOS app or just the Android in general. So there's a big difference between web and mobile.
All right, great. So thank you so much, guys, for answering all of those questions. We'll be moving on to the next team now. Let me just find my list. I should probably pop it in the chat to keep myself reminded too. Next team is Dream Dates. All right. Okay, we're just going to double check that we have all of you.
Yep, I think this is everyone.
All right, perfect. So you guys can go ahead and get started whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. Welcome to our presentation. Thank you for coming. My name is Usaru. I'm the product manager on our team, and I'll let everyone else introduce themselves.
I'm Chelsea. I'm the product designer.
My name is Alvin, and I'm a dev.
Thank you. I couldn't unmute myself. My name is Damien Cohort. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm a dev.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, and our mentor for our project was Asha as well. But now that we've introduced you to the team, I'm excited to walk you guys through what we've been working on for the past 8 weeks. So today we're going to talk about the dating experience again. So the dating experience is really important. It's something that is a really key piece in any relationship. At the beginning, when folks are trying to get into a relationship, and even when they are dating, and even up into marriage, it is something that fosters a lot of connection and helps people to get to know each other. So having said that and established just the importance of dating, there's someone I want us all to meet, and that's Steve. So Steve is, So Steve's been in a relationship. He's been dating his girlfriend for the past 2 years. Great guy. He has, although started to get a bit bored, he and his girlfriend are getting a bit bored of their usual dates. They go on dates probably like once or twice a week. And the usual dinner is starting to get a bit boring. And at this point, he's struggling to really think of what to do next for their dates. So this whole scenario is what's really led us to our problem statement. And that's that people who go on dates need a way to conveniently find dating ideas because they want to share different experiences together. And so if you go to the next slide. So Steve isn't actually alone. We did some research and we ran a survey and we had 24 respondents. 54.2% of them said they find it hard to come up with dating ideas. We also did some user interviews, and a key insight that we found was that everyone really loved going on new and different experiences on dates. So to double click on that a bit, we did some secondary research and found that there's actually studies that have shown that new and exciting experiences on dates really helps to promote closeness. And so this is what has really led us to our solution, which is Dream Dates. So I'll invite Alvin now to walk us through a brief demo.
Okay. Hi. Nice to see you guys again. So I'm going to walk you through our app. Try to stay within time. So As you can see, we have a collection of different day ideas. There's different food, movies, attractions, and live entertainment, which can be filtered out from up here, depending on which one you want. And also another feature we have is you can search for a place. For example, it's Pickle Barrel. You can click on a date. It'll open up with date details, give you the websites and other information here about the date. Let's say you want to save this as a date. All you have to do is click on the little heart. But first, you have to have an account with us. So let's sign up for one. So hit the sign up button, enter your information, hit sign up, and yeah, we're back here. You click on the little heart, it'll save the date. Let's save another one. For example, let's save a movie, Minions. Minions gives you a little story about the Minions, and click on the save and save. Let's save one more. For example, Thor. You already know you want to see Thor. You don't have to open it up. You can click on this heart, and it'll save it automatically. Where's all your saved ideas, saved date ideas? You click up here, it'll bring you to the save page where you can open it up after you finish the date, and you can unsave it and I'll remove it, or you can just click on the heart here and I'll unsave the date. And then I'll just bring you back to the home, and I'll pass you back to Osaru, where he'll learn, we'll talk about his learnings.
Thanks. I couldn't unmute myself. Thank you, Alvin. So a couple of things I learned from CoLab was one, I learned how to use different communication approaches to really ensure that everyone in the team is being carried along, to ensure that we all have a solid understanding of the problem space and our solution space as well. I also learned how to prioritize and de-scope features effectively based off of perceived effort and value of the features, in order for us to deliver an MVP within a short time frame. Lastly, I also learned just how important it is to plan ahead of the team's current status and tasks, in order for me to be able to provide enough clarity and direction to the team on an ongoing basis. I think Chelsea needs to unmute.
I'm unmuted now. I learned not to delete because most of the time I would go back to my previous ideas and iterate on them. And it's also encouraging to see the progress I've made since the beginning. And I also learned to communicate often. Daily stand-ups worked really well, just knowing where everybody is at. And I also learned to be flexible to make changes to designs based on the feasibility of code. And also to post, remember, and learn. Because that way other people know what I'm doing and I can reflect on those learnings as well.
So my learnings, clear communication is very important. We did, like Chelsea said, we did daily stand-ups, and I found that was very helpful to see where everyone was at. Setting clear goals. This is first time doing sprint and retros. I really like it. We use Trello as the management, and it actually helped. Again, it really helped so let everyone know where everyone's at, and if anyone had any blockers and was left behind. Collaborating. So I came from a coding bootcamp with only developers, and this was a great opportunity to work not only with people within my role, but with people outside of it. I learned a lot from the designer and their perspective, and how great like Figma is a tool as well. And overall, just improving my technical skills. And then we'll pass it to Damien.
So I learned how important communication is between a team that are assigned with specific roles. I learned how to work with different people and different ideas and come together and find one unique idea. I learned how to show humility by understanding that my ideas have not always been the best idea, and improving my technical skills. Welcome to the last part of the presentation. Dream Days will be continued. Some upcoming features you can expect is support for more locations. Instead of just Canada, you can expect like Texas, New York, and other places. Enhanced details for each day idea, so you can see the popularity and or video trailer. Useful filters so you can see how far it is, the day idea you're looking to. Reviews so you can see other users' experience on that date. That's all we have for now, and thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you guys so much. Let me just quickly look back through and find some questions. There were a few. So any that I missed, definitely pop into the chat and answer those as well. And then just due to timing, we can't cover them all. All right. So from Julian, we have, how did the team decide what tools to build the project? Was it decided by the team or the developers? Maybe just give me a wave if you need to be unmuted, if anyone does.
Yeah, so so it was the developers that decided what tools they were going to use. We sort of had a lot of discussions so everyone understood the problem that we're trying to solve and then the solution, and then they came back with what tools they would like to use to spec out those solutions.
Perfect, great. And now we have a question from Dave. Well, he has a commented statement first. So he says, I would definitely use this app. Great concept and problem to solve. Comment, there's a famous phrase, winners focus, losers spray. Questions, which personas are you targeting? How are you tailoring the experience to that persona? For example, Gen Z likely has different date interests versus baby boomers.
Right, so we are currently targeting folks within the age bracket of like 20s to 30s, just because those folks are usually going on a lot of dates and also really intentional about the type of about their dates. And then we also did some research and found that for a lot of like the Gen Z folks on the younger side, their date ideas tend to be a lot more casual and like without putting too much thought into it. So that is the group that we're focusing on currently.
Great, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Let me just double check if there were any other questions that I missed. Oh, there's one here that says, are you proficient in your technology skills during this project, or did you learn some skills during the process, and how do you leverage on it fast when you're building with it?
Yes, that's a question for the devs. I'll let those guys take it
on. So from my bootcamp, it was very front-end focused, which was React, JavaScript. So that's a technology that I was comfortable with using. I did want to learn a little bit of backend where Damien had his expertise. I did get that chance, but not as much as I wanted to, but it was still a little bit of something. So I'll pass it to Damien to answer.
Yeah, my bootcamp is full stack, so we basically go over everything, but like since it's like a short amount of time, we don't get to like be like the professionals, like to like remember every single little thing is pretty hard. So like going to like the back end, I have to like refresh my memory. Same thing with like front end. So basically just refreshing my memory and like, oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember to do this. So like, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. We'll move on to the next group. Appreciate you all answering all those questions, and definitely pop into the chat and answer any that I missed as well. All right, so our next team up is Sprout. So get ready. Definitely make sure to keep yourselves unmuted if you can. It obviously gets a little tricky when you can't unmute yourself due to the security settings.
Shall I start sharing my screen?
Yes, you guys can go ahead.
All right, can everybody hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, we can.
All right. Hello, everyone. We are Team Sprout. My name is Terrell Cooper. I am the product manager.
I'm Megan Flagg, the product designer.
I'm Jennifer Collins, a developer.
And I'm Stephen Kortenstein, a developer.
So, what is Sprout? Why Sprout? We all know how difficult networking and finding mentorships can be. So we set up to make Sprout as a tool that would try to ease some of that. Sprout will connect individuals with available mentors, depending on their skill set, area of expertise, and experience level, to provide support and mentorship regarding career aspirations, professional development, and networking. So Sprout evolved from an observation amongst our peers and those within specifically the tech sector that there's some degree of difficulty when entering a new field, whether that's at the beginning of your career or if you're in transition. So one of the pain points that we discovered during our ideation discovery phase was that through our user research, we learned that 72% of the respondents via our survey would like a mentor, while most of half of those same respondents were unsure how to network or how a mentor relationship even work. And now I pass it over to Megan.
Thanks, Terrell. Based on the feedback we got from our users, we developed a plan for our solution. We determined that we would create an easy onboarding system where both mentors and mentees can utilize a feature that matches them based on their interests and goals. We also knew that we needed to provide a detailed mentor profile so that mentees can make informed decisions when they're selecting a mentor. I created the lo-fi wireframes, hi-fi mockups, and prototypes in Figma. And after conducting usability testing, I updated the designs for a more intuitive experience. And now I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn it over to Jen.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, my unmute button wasn't working. So through our user testing and feedback, we were able to refine the user experience and create something that was for both the mentor and the mentee. Our mentee experience is prioritized, but it was important for us to clarify what the mentor role was during the sign-up process. Stephen will get to that later when we kind of go over the form. So before a user signs up, they actually can access a limited view of existing mentor profile information. And that is done by the buttons on the homepage. So this is the search feature or the filter and search feature that we've created. Mentees are able to retrieve a snapshot of potential mentors with only the following criteria. So you've got profession, skill level, and experience level. So from there, you're taken to our results page. So the filter on the homepage takes you there and it gives you your results that you've searched for, but I'll use this button to kind of show you a little bit of an example of how this works. So we're going to search for Figma. We're looking for a designer and who has an intermediate experience. And once you hit search, it gives us 5 results back you can just preview various profiles. You can't click on them. It just gives you like their role, their experience, and their pronouns, as well as whether or not they're introverted or extroverted. And then Stephen is going to go over the form aspect. So we'll click Get Started because we're going to go through the mentee experience.
For sure. Okay, so we had 2 intakes and we'll get started with this one. We have 4 pages and we're kind of just looking for some key elements here to get beyond just skill or expertise. So at the beginning, we're looking to find out if folks are introverted. For myself, I would usually say I like to get lost in a book or a film, but some people like sports. We can type in a test user here and put in just their name, their country, their time zone. So when they do connect with somebody, they can kind of coordinate those things. For the other elements, we'll put in that they are a developer. We're looking for a quick coffee chat. We're going to say, I think, no preference just in terms of the connection, but we give people some options there. I went to a boot camp, so I'd love to meet someone else who went to a boot camp. And then senior would be my hopeful mentor in terms of their experience level. And right now I focus mostly just on JavaScript and TypeScript. So I would hope that someone who I met would have those skills as well. Yeah, submit. And then we're given some options here. So we can go to one of the profiles and just in this example here. So we see that they're a senior, they're looking at the coffee chat. And I'll let Jen just maybe go over some of the profile details.
Yeah, so lastly, this is the mentor page. So this is the part of the user experience that is for the mentors. So each profile is created uniquely with adding the key value to the URL from our Firebase database where we're storing all of our data. So the unique thing about the mentor experience is that they can actually upload an image and they can upload or input their like a bio about themselves. And then down here, you'll see that the email address is revealed once they have, or once the mentee actually clicks on the page. So that gives the mentee the opportunity to make contact with the mentor. And that's it for our product demo. And I think I'll pass it over to Terrell, who's going to share some of our learnings.
Awesome, thanks. I know we're running over time into our questions, but that's okay. We did want to share our key learnings from each and every member of the team. So I'll start with myself first. Serving as PM on this team, so it was really rewarding. It really takes the team effort to build a product. You know, creativity and uniqueness are a couple of values that, you know, products teams should have, right? So early on, I pitched an idea of what I wanted our product to really look like, what it should be, but the collaboration amongst us really drove home what it should look and feel like, and who it would be perfect for. So creating that culture within my team, you know, where they felt empowered to share their ideas was very critical for us, especially early on where we had a lot of challenges. So we had to pivot a couple of times. So definitely, it was a rewarding experience. I really appreciate my time in COLAB. And I pass it over to Megan.
I thank you. I gained a much deeper understanding of how to communicate about the user experience design process, as well as my design decisions with other members of my team. I learned a lot about the Agile process, which was very valuable. And I definitely learned how to become comfortable showing, discussing, and getting feedback on work that was still in process as we iterated as a team. And I'll pass it to Jen.
I learned a lot about communication and trust. So trust for trusting my own abilities and kind of, you know, my own knowledge base, and communication, I think, and also collaboration. Collaboration kind of allowed me to work with another developer, but also to like learn more about my own skills and have some confidence with that. And then in terms of communication, I think a lot of our brainstorming sessions and just communicating as a whole team really pushed our project and our product into like the next level. And that kind of helped us narrow the scope of our focus on our MVPs. And I'll pass it along to Stephen.
Thanks, Jen. I'll make it quick as the clock is ticking here. Key takeaways, openness to ask for help. Our mentor was great. Ashika, she provided us with code reviews from a senior dev, which really helped us to see some of the bugs and the places for efficiency. And the other big takeaway, I think, for myself was just being able to better understand the role of the PM and the role of the designer and what other devs go through during this whole process. It's been an incredible experience. So with that said, I will open the floor to questions.
Great. Thank you guys so much. I hope the clock doesn't scare you too much. We do have time for one question, so we will jump right in there and let me see. There's a few, so definitely go back and read those. From Dave, we have, what was your biggest SaaS Agile Scrum learning? Sorry, and at the beginning he said this is for anyone, but perhaps Megan can elaborate since you brought it up.
Well, I have to say I really had not worked in an Agile environment before. So learning about the rituals was helpful, just learning the structure of the rituals and how it really helped keep our tasks on track and keep ourselves organized. And I think one of the other teams had commented, I'll say the same, that daily meetings and regular communication so that we were all aware of what we were working on and where everybody was very helpful.
Great. Thank you guys so much. Definitely, like I said, check the chat, pop in there and answer those questions, and we'll move on to the next group, which is Peak. And a reminder that you will be muted and your mute button won't work because of our security settings. So when you get the prompt to unmute yourself, definitely do that. And if you happen to mute yourself, definitely give us a wave and we will try our best to quickly unmute you. All right. You guys are all there. You should be good to go. Make sure you can unmute.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get started. Okay. Hi, everyone. We're Team Peak. I'm Jen, the product manager.
I'm Angie, the product designer.
I'm Daisy, software developer.
I'm Andrew, software developer.
If you've been job hunting recently, you know how difficult it is to get a sense for culture at a given company. Review sites like Glassdoor and Indeed, company websites, news articles, even social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram can help job seekers get an understanding of company culture, but this is time-consuming and often pretty vague. We found through user research and interviews that Generation Z in particular places workplace culture high on their list of priorities when selecting a new company. 69% of Gen Z respondents say that they would absolutely be more likely to apply at a company that emphasized a diverse workplace. 54% may not have joined their company if they had known more about the company culture, and 61% didn't find help job seekers make career decisions when access to this vital information is so hard to find. We're going to do a quick demo, so I'll pass that over to Angie here.
All right, so we created Peak, a responsive web app that displays crowdsourced workplace culture reviews. Our aim with the Peak MVP is to create a resource for job seekers to quickly and easily find reliable reviews of a company culture. We have two main features: company ratings, which focus on the workplace culture, and submitting reviews. Users arrive on the landing page and begin by searching a company they are interested in or leaving a review. Let's try searching for Peak. Here we can see on the main page our scores, the average score for Peak and the scores for each individual cultural topic. If the user wants to leave a review, they can start by clicking here. And once they enter their work email, which is verified, we can then move on to the rest of the form. Users can choose the topics that they want to rate, and the form includes an area for optional comments. All ratings and comments are completely anonymous, but reviewers can choose to include their office location and position. There is no requirement to create an account or leave a rating in order to see any of the information. And we are relying on the user's sense of community to leave their review so they can help make an impact for other job seekers who are just like them.
Now,
And now Andrew's going
to Andrew. Yeah.
Oh, don't ever time you. The technology that we use consisted of Node.js, Express.js, and PostgreSQL for the backend, and React.js and Tailwind CSS for the front end.
Great, thanks, guys.
We tested our idea multiple times throughout building the product, and we had some great testing sessions. And we also received some comments that helped us to iterate into a better, cleaner, and more usable product.
Our initial research and user testing revealed many features that would be impactful, but we had to scale back due to time constraints. The descope features didn't really impact the ability of the MVP to solve the problem of making it easier to find cultural information for Gen Z job seekers. So some of my key learnings from the experience is to trust in the knowledge of each team member as a subject matter expert and keep asking questions. Go beyond what I think or what I expect, and how to juggle different timelines and priorities for each team member and allow room to experiment with the best ways to work as a team.
Some of my key learnings include acquiring new knowledge, understanding new facts, developing new skills, challenging what you already know, making mistakes, and iterating really do make your end product better. Also, it's never too late to make a change. whether you're pivoting your career or updating your UI components. And lastly, the value of collaboration can't be denied.
My key learnings were I learned how valuable it is collaborate with designers along the process of development. Also, I learned to be resilient while researching new solutions to fix the issues. And lastly, I learned strong front-end skills. Pass to Andrew.
I learned that it's best to ask for help when I hit a blocker. Communication is key, especially when it's time to have hard conversations. And finally, working with team members with more experience is definitely amazing because of the wisdom gained.
Great. So with Peak, understanding workplace culture doesn't have to be so hard. Thanks. Take some questions now.
Great, awesome, you guys. Thank you so much. Let me just jump back and find a few questions from Rachel. We have, what are some KPIs, key performance indicators, you would use to determine if this product was a success?
The main ones we looked at were generally the sort of the velocity of reviews in the database, how many reviews are being added. One of the other options would be when we do implement things like user profiles, companies would be able to be saved. So if people are going back to the same company to see what their reviews are, that'd be another KPI that we'd be looking at.
Great. Another question from Ashika. If you had another 3 weeks to work on this project, what would be the most impactful feature from your backlog that you guys wanted to build?
Oh boy. That's a big question. I think the big one is just increasing how strong the validation is. Right now, we're just using an email check. We'd like to use some sort of other OAuth or maybe even eventually blockchain. And user profiles would be a huge add to the program.
Great. And another question, Julian asks, you had to scale back. How did you decide what was necessary and what to ignore? Similar question. But was that a team decision or was it decided by certain members of the team?
It definitely was a team conversation that we had. And it really came down to focusing mainly on who is our key user and what's the base problem we're trying to solve, and that's just about getting information. So yeah, the user profiles would have been awesome. The OAuth would have been awesome to involve, but for this and this time frame, this is as far as we went.
Wonderful. And we do have a little bit more time. Mish asks, what led to the idea of implementing blockchain?
That was a bit of a short conversation we had with our mentor, Asha, who has a lot of experience in Web3 and that type of thing. And knowing that that's sort of the direction that it seems that the internet is going, that's where we got that from, but we haven't really gone too deep into that yet.
Great. And your mentor, Asha, she direct messaged me, but she meant it for you guys. It says, go Team Peak, excellent work. And a bunch of
yeah, thanks, Asha.
confetti. And then one last question. We have 30 seconds left. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. Alo. I really have an interest in it considering the backend technologies that you used. Why did you decide to use SQL? Because I know it's more complex to adapt compared to no SQL, MongoDB. At Andrew, specifically.
Yeah, so we can answer to keep it short. I used PostgreSQL because everything that we worked on had to be relational. Like the users had to match to the company, which had to match up to everything we needed to use. But as for like using MongoDB, to my understanding, it doesn't allow relational tables, so that would have been a little bit harder to use for our project, in my opinion. But in short, that's why I decided to use Postgres.
Great. Thank you guys so much. Really awesome to see. I know Shifumi mentioned at our midpoint demo that this is the greatest bunch of products he's ever seen, and you guys are really blowing it out of the water today. So thank you so much. We will move on to our next group, which is Free Up. All right, I think we have all of you here. Wonderful. Whenever you're ready, go ahead. And I will unmute you if you need it.
Perfect. I think we're good to go. Alrighty, so hey everyone, we're Team Free Up. And so I'm Rishi, I'm the PM. And Vina is muted.
Oh, hey, sorry. Hi, I'm Lavina, the product designer.
Hey, my name is Zoe Manzoor, and I'm one of the software developers on the team.
I'm Jacob. I'm the other software developer, and Rachel was our mentor.
So imagine you're a New Yorker walking home and you happen to see that pink vase and you think it would be the perfect size to repot your succulent. And unfortunately, while deciding on if you have permission to take the vase, you already walked past it and ultimately you just decide to drop the idea of even taking that vase home with you. Now, this internal strife that you have can be avoided with FreeUp. And that what FreeUp is a web app which facilitates the upcycling of these free used goods between New Yorkers to make that process as streamlined as possible. I'll hand it off to Vina now to talk more about it FreeUp.
Yeah, with currently 21% of Americans upcycling goods regularly, we realize there's no central space where people can find or donate items for free. As a web app, FreeUp fills that gap by streamlining the process of finding goods, decisions surrounding a good's condition, and the logistics needed to acquire those goods. Now I'm going to hand it over to our developers for a demo.
Thank you, Vina. Welcome to FreeUp. FreeUp is built on the parent stack, Postgres, Express, React, and Node.js. We use Materials UI as our styling library in the front end, and we also use Connects.js to simplify our schema design and to seed our database with some dummy data to test with. And with that, I'll pass it over to Jacob for a demo.
All right, everyone. So yeah, this is our homepage. So we have a little section on how it works and some reviews as well. And then we can sign in. So since we already have an account, let's do that. And we're signing in. And then we have the items that our donators are giving us. And for our project, we learned that there are going to be two types of users. So one that is going to be first come, first serve, that immediate pickup, something you'll see on the street and try to grab. And then other items that will be a scheduled pickup. So messaging the user and finding a time. So we added a filtering aspects of it. So we can filter different types of what we want to pick up, as well as a category of what we want to filter and in between those type of filtering as well. Great, and we can create a listing. So let's do that. And let's say we want to give away some toys that we don't need anymore. Our kids have grown up. Let's add a nice photo. We can set the condition, the type of category it'll be in, the borough, how many roughly we have, and the approximate weight. And we'll say this will be an arranged pickup. So we want someone to message us, and we give on our address as well. And we can give a short little modal that will just give us a preview just in case any information is wrong. So now we can publish that. And amazing, our item is in the feed. So if we want to go maybe look for new items, we can go to the item detail page where we can find more information again. And we have two types of ways to message our users. We can add a comment. So a nice general comment we can add asking maybe certain questions. And then we can also specifically message the user. This will be for, coordinating a time in the future. We would like to have a type of calendar schedule type of system, but for now, to get to MVP, we're using the messaging system. And we can also delete items once they are gone. So yeah, thank you so much. We had a great time and we'd love to talk about our learnings.
Okay, so I guess I'll start us off there. My biggest thing here was, like many of us, it was communication from both sides, actually. So the first one was obviously listening. Something that I really started to do at the start was try and participate in conversations with the team for the sake of being involved, because as a PM, I wanted to have my hand in everything. And then eventually what I started doing was I just shut up and I listened more. And I was able to sort of understand what my teammates are trying to tell me, which really helped in the next big learning in the prioritization negotiation. Because now that I understand them and empathize with them, I can ask the right questions too, and I can capture all the angles of a problem, which ultimately streamlines decision-making for us. And finally, I learned to test early and often. We actually did our user testing a little late to our liking, and that led to us sort of de-scoping even more to touch up to sort of polish our MVP for the final presentation today. And I guess what that showed me was if we had sort of pushed to test earlier, we would have had a little bit more direction from what our users want, what would be meaningful, and that could have started the iterative process for us a little bit sooner.
Thanks, Rishi. Those were great. My main takeaways were the collaborative environments. Learning in that kind of environment I felt crucial to achieving this common goal. Coming from like a UX bootcamp, I had to do everything myself. So hearing my teammates' knowledge and their input was really crucial to crafting my design decisions. Also reaching out for their input and feedback really helped me see things in a different perspective. And being able to work in a safe space where, our ideas could be exchanged easily was a really great learning experience for me.
Yeah, I had an amazing experience with Colab. So a lot of things I learned. One of them is better to focus on the functional aspects of our product rather trying to get to pixel perfect UI when trying to get to our MVP goals, especially for me using Material UI for the first time. Ran into a couple of issues, but we were able to figure some things out. It's okay to accept our limitations and find compromises when we are creating new features, since we're all learning and growing in our roles. And also to praise each other's time, work, and hard work, no matter how small, because bit by bit over the weeks, our product grew into something really amazing.
Thank you for that, Jacob. Some key learnings for me is while working on a cross-functional team for the first time, it's important to scope out MVP features and to communicate feature feasibility to non-technical members. Also, providing updates with daily stand-down sessions helps better track the stage of the app. And lastly, setting aside some time to agree on core values really helps team members feel more comfortable when sharing ideas. Some of our best ideas came from building on each other's. Thank you for taking some time to learn about FreeUp. We welcome any questions.
That was awesome. Your learnings were all so great. Definitely a lot of really valuable, important stuff there. So we do have a few questions in the chat. I'll try to do as many as I can and then jump in there and answer the rest. Mish asks, this is a fantastic product. What are your plans for FreeUp after CoLab?
I can take this one really quickly. We had sort of main features we wanted to include. Originally, we wanted to include a credibility system along with just being able to post a listing and message users. And then eventually you want to go take it to the next level and sort of differentiate FreeUp from Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji or something like that. And that could potentially be collaborating with thrift stores or charities to organize group donations and stuff like that. So there's a lot of possibilities, and then obviously including cool tech. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you. There's some similar questions related to that and the features that you maybe had to de-scope. So definitely jump in the chat and answer those ones too. One more from Dave. What was the best resource to help troubleshoot technical challenges?
Besides,
I think, you can go ahead. You can start off, Jacob.
Honestly, it was really just checking in and working together as a team. Like for me, working with different developer, really talking things out, going slowly, drawing things out, besides using documentation as well. But yeah, knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and we would find a solution that would work.
Yeah, also just collaborating with other people. For us, it was just me and Jacob. So maybe sometimes him having some eyes on a feature or me just trying to explain what's going on and what the bug is would sometimes just bring out the solution from just talking out loud.
That's awesome. You guys are making me tear up. The best resource was each other. That's amazing to hear. I gotta try not to cry before the end of this. All right, thank you guys so much. We'll move on to the next group. Definitely jump in the chat and answer the rest of those questions when you can. Thank you. Sorry, I forgot to announce the next group is Tara. All right. We'll unmute you guys if you haven't already. Take it away when you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Let me just quickly share my screen, and Donovan will be present.
Yeah, my laptop's not the best for presentations. So obviously we're Team Terra and we're here to replenish your Earth one action at a time. And as you can see, this is our team here. I'm obviously the product manager, so my name's Donovan Chu. Jenny Yu's our product designer. Sean Townsend and Roy Anger are our software developers. Roy is not here today because of some car troubles. Next slide, please. And Michuan is our prod mentor. So as we all know, saving the environment can be a tough task for most people. And one of the things that we really honed in on in terms of the environment is food waste, because it's probably the biggest environmental cause that has far-reaching implications when it comes to water conservation and greenhouse gases, et cetera, et cetera. And so one stat that we've actually took note was really the fact that 20% of produce or more that you would see in a grocery store, they often get thrown out for cosmetic reasons. So this would be in the form of weird shapes, odd colors, and blemishes. Next slide, please. And so in that problem space, we sent out a survey to 16 people that had eco-friendly habits tied with food. And from that survey alone, we found that 50% of respondents, they were moderately surprised that food waste is a significant contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, and about 93.8% have seen food with cosmetic quirks. But when it came to purchasing decisions, there was a bit of an even split in that statistic. And so with that being said, we asked ourselves, how might we encourage and positively reinforce people to minimize food waste so that it's both rewarding and fulfilling? And so we also created our persona, which will also be our ideal customer profile, or ICP. Her name is Jordan, and she's a single data scientist living in San Francisco, California. And she's often interested in the environment, but is just really too busy to really get into it. And so Jordan's goals here is to be motivated in minimizing food waste. That's both fun and easy. She also wants to learn about the subject easily without feeling overwhelmed when it comes to information. And she also wants to learn with others as well, because she wants to see other people's progress in minimizing food waste to boost motivation. And so we created this mobile first web application that helps mitigate food waste, which is our proposed solution. And so the three key features here that I will go through in about 2 minutes or so is that we have a point system that rewards you. In order to get a point, you would either upload a picture of a particular produce that you've had, or you would go to the food for thought section, which we'll touch on in a bit, and you would click on an external article so that you can learn more about the fact that you would love to learn more about. And so touching back on the picture of the particular produce that you've taken, these pictures will then be in the form of what's called a harvest board. It's essentially a gallery that you would see all the particular produce that you've saved. And finally, just to come full circle here, as I stated earlier, to get a point, you would also go through the food for thought section to click on the external article. And the food for thought section is designed to be bite-sized so that you can encapsulate information rather easily, and you don't have to feel overwhelmed when it comes to learning more about food waste. So in terms of my learnings, I've learned to be very cross-functional and be extremely collaborative with my team. And I think because of that rich understanding of product management, it really helped out in that regard. I obviously found that I love being a Scrum Master, which is why I wrote Newfound Love in there. It's just super amazing. And the third learning here, there's a bit of context to that, because I actually came to CoLab while I was in the middle of a product launch in my full-time job. So I went from selling the product to actually building one from the ground up, and I really understood what that really meant.
As a designer, I learned how to constrain and narrow down features according to time limits, make design choices through user research rather than intuition, and also learning how to hand off designs to our devs efficiently and clearly.
Things I learned is a new framework, which is Tailwind CSS, because I never heard of it or used it before. I usually just use regular CSS on my project, so that was a fun thing to learn and to like basically build my repertoire. And also like I became like a more adaptable person and like developer by overcoming some obstacles that our group had faced.
Sorry about that. I accidentally hit on the mute button. Roy obviously is not here, but he has learned a lot in terms of working with Sean closely, and the pair programming sessions for him has been extremely fun. And if you would like to learn more about our product, go to savemrterra.com. We obviously want to thank the program and Misfits Market, whom we're actually working on getting a partnership with to really empower us to build on this product.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. I'm just waiting to see if anyone has any questions in the chat. All right, one from Dave. Great work, team. How did the team prioritize features? Did the team use any frameworks to assist with this? If so, which one?
I think when it came to prioritizing features, to be quite frank with you, I think we didn't really have a set framework that we went with. It was more like things fell into place and we ran with it. And I think that's the beauty of building a product is sometimes ambiguity, you fully embrace that. And when you fully embrace ambiguity, things end up falling into place. And I think that's how we prioritize features. It's about really being adaptable and knowing when to pivot and going from there.
Great. And the next question from Rachel, what is the next feature that you'd like to add to Terra?
I think one of the next features, if I can recall off the top of my head, is obviously we're adding more facts to our repository, so that way like you don't see the same fact within the bite-sized information. So we're really trying to hone in more on the core features to ensure that it's at the best tip-top shape. But in terms of next features, we would like to implement a tagging system once we have that partnership with Misfits Market in place.
Awesome. Great work. Jacob has a question. What was your favorite part of the process?
I think the favorite part of the process, and Jenny and Sean, feel free to jump in. I don't want to dominate the whole thing, but it's the fact that I have a really synergetic relationship with Jenny. She has been kick-ass when it came to the user interview. She's just super awesome, and I love the fact that we're all collaborative, especially Sean too. He's done a splendid, exemplary job as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was super fun just doing user discovery, and especially because we also had to do external discovery due to the pivot that we had to make. But that entire process was super, super interesting and fun to do. So yeah.
And my favorite part is just like connecting with the team because like this team is pretty cool. Like Donovan and Jenny, I've enjoyed like our conversations with like both of them. And Roy, like for like coming on and helping us, and like as he mentioned in his slide, our coaching, our peer program sessions have been like great, and like I've learned a lot. So yeah, that's been my favorite part, just like collaborating with the team, meeting with our mentor Mish, who's pretty awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to chime in the 30 seconds that we have here. I want to give a big shout out to Mish. She's super awesome, really pushed us out of our comfort zone, and she was actually the one that really drove the conversation with Misfits Market. So big shout out to Mish. We actually even came up with the catchphrase for her. We always say to her now, in Mish we trust. So it's kind of a catchphrase for her that we use now. So
That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. Misha says she's crying now, so you guys are just all making us tear up. That's so great. Wonderful. Thank you guys for everything. Your presentation was wonderful. We'll move on to the next group, which is Contact Max.
All right, so now, hello everyone. I am just sharing my screen. And we dropped shop. Wow. All right, 1 second there. Okay, so I think we have everyone. Hey, Alex, I see you. Hey, Dave. All right, so hello, everyone. My name is Nick Sneed, and I'd like to welcome you to our CoLab Contact Max final presentation. We are very excited to share more about our team, as well as some of the pertinent details about the product, and to give everyone a deep dive into our product demo. So just a little bit about our team. We have a 5-person team that consists of myself, Nick Sneed as the PM, Alex Hartley as the product designer, Valence Frederick, Ade Takumbo, and Ease Eastside as the development/engineering team. So just a little bit by way of statistics, as you all may not know, but 80% of professionals believe that you can elevate your career success through professional networking. And at least 70% of people actually got their job through networking altogether. So now I actually introduce Arlo. He's currently transitioning careers and he'd like to meet new people. He understands that networking is important, but he honestly struggles to keep track of all of those contacts, similar to some of the points that some of the previous teams have called out. And it's also difficult for him to remember details so that he can keep in touch with, with some of those members of his network so that he can keep in touch and stay up to date, right? Ultimately, Arlo wants to become a super networker. So now, enter Contact Max. It's our tool to help you organize and grow your business relationships to both reach your goals and ultimately become a super networker. Now I'm actually going to pass it off to Alex so she can talk a little bit more about the product and give everyone a product demo.
Thanks, Nick. You can go ahead and go to the next slide.
All right.
Okay, so when the user first enters the app, they'll be able to swipe through the main features of the app, and then they can go ahead and get started and either sign up as with their email or continue as a guest. They can then sync their contacts. Here we're going to import all of them. And then we're going to enable our notifications to get those reminders that I'll talk about in a minute. Then you're all set up with the onboarding. You can go ahead and then continue to your dashboard. And if you want to manually create a contact, you can add one through the floating menu. And here you can enter general details, job details, details about how you met someone, or just general notes. And you can also add tags to help organize your related contacts. So here we're going to go ahead and save. And then we're going to be asked to create a reminder. For this purpose, we're going to go ahead and skip this and navigate back to our dashboard, which we can do through the bottom navigation. Then you can go ahead and actually create a reminder. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, Nick. You can go ahead and create your first reminder on the dashboard where you can type in the contact that you'd like to create a reminder with. You can enter the date as well as the time you would like to be reminded. Then you can also enter the form of communication. So that can either be through calling, emailing, or texting. And then you can leave any general notes that you might have in terms of the topic of conversation that you'd like to reach out to them about. Here you have the reminder confirmation page, and you can go ahead and exit out of that and go back to the dashboard where you'll be able to see your upcoming reminders at the top of the screen. Then you'll be able to add tags on the next screen. Thank you, Nick. Nick, you can go next. Thanks. Here you can add your first tag, and here you can create the tag name. So just typing here product designer. Then you can add it to whatever contacts you would like. We're going to go ahead and add to just the first one. Then you have the confirmation that that tag has been successfully added. So you can go ahead and start, grouping your related contacts together and find the tags at the bottom of the screen on your dashboard. And then I'm actually going to hand it back off to Nick to talk about the future of Contact Max.
Thanks so much, Alex. So one thing I did forget to mention is we did have a great mentor along, helping us along throughout this process. Big major kudos and shout outs to Dave. Thank you so much for riding along with us. So looking forward, we have a lot of big plans for Contact Max. Over the next 3 months, we'd hope to release the iOS app with MVP features of syncing contacts, creating reminders, and adding tags to help users reach their goals. And ultimately, over the next 6 to 12 months, we hope to build out some key features such as logging activities for each instance where you are, reaching out to a contact that's stored in the platform, as well as a really cool relationship strength meter that more or less adds weight and a score to each form of communication that you're having back and forth with a specific contact in the platform. So big things for our super networkers over the next 3 to 12 months. As far as product manager lessons learned, I was able to walk away with several key takeaways. Number one, I was able to gain an in-depth understanding of how the collaboration process should work when you're developing a product from 0 to 1. Number two, I was able to gain a more attuned understanding of the work that all of the team members have to do in order to deliver and ship a valuable product. And last but not least, probably the number one for me is I learned how to navigate the time conflicts that come when working on tight deadlines throughout the last 8 weeks, and how to leverage your engineering team as the main source of prioritization as you're preparing for critical milestones. And I just want to give a big shout out to our product designer, Alex Hartley, for just killing it throughout this whole entire experience. So Alex, pass it off to you.
Nick, I'll quickly go over mine just in terms of, since we're tight on time, but I learned specifically the importance of communicating consistently, especially with our developers at every single stage of the process, just to ensure that there was a seamless handoff going on. And also just how to collaborate as a team to prioritize our features. I feel like that was a challenge for us, is just actually prioritizing what we wanted to include in the MVP. And then I also just learned how to plan and execute the sprints. And whenever we needed to pivot, I learned how to do that as well. So yeah, I'll hand it off to Ade to talk about his learnings.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I had fun during the program and I enjoyed it. So for me, I was very happy I was able to work with Alex because she did very incredible things using Figma. So that has been a plus for me. I've never seen how someone, she created a lovely mock-up and presentation using Figma, which is key for me. And also, I was happy joining because I learned about, I learned working on mobile apps. I've always wanted to work on mobile apps, but just because of time, I've not been able to do that. But engaging in the program, I was able to do that. And also, I appreciate working with good teams with like minds. And I'm happy that we're able to achieve something. Thank you.
All right, so we have a little bit of time left, but we just want to say thank you to everyone for hearing out our presentation today and learning a little bit more about Contact Max. And once again, just major shout out to Dave for helping mentor us throughout this process.
Great, thank you guys so much. We do have a bit of time, so we'll jump right into the questions. Any that I miss, go into the chat and answer those after as well. Mish asks, how did you think through the information architecture of the core home screens?
I can go ahead and take that one. Just doing the research and talking to potential users, it seemed like the most important thing that they wanted to see whenever they were opening up their dashboard was to see those reminders. It's the primary purpose of the app, is to make sure that you can remind yourself to reach out to those contacts, to really build and just nurture those relationships. And then after that, it was just kind of looking at the hierarchy of being able to look at your contacts, and then lastly, looking at the tags. That just seemed to be of order of importance. So, and that's something that we'll continue to evaluate as we move forward and add more features if we need to move those around.
Great, thank you. Next question from Donovan says he's curious about your GTM strategy for the product. He's asking, since he recently had his job title and responsibilities changed to product marketing specialist.
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I know there was a lot of discussion internally within our team about like how we would potentially go to market. And since a lot of us are either currently in grad school or, we all we remember that undergraduate experience, one of the ideas that we pitched or that we threw out and that we wanted to kind of kick the tires on is going to, like, for example, I graduated from Howard University. So just going to Howard University and, getting involved with some of the student activities. There's a lot of networking that takes place on college campuses. So it's a great place to, have a hotbed of folks that are incentivized to become super networkers, because it'll benefit them ultimately in their, pursuit in their undergraduate experience.
Awesome, that's great. Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation. Thank you for everything. And we'll move on to our last group, Dragonfly. think we're still waiting for one more team member. You guys had all
Yeah.
4 of you today, right? There we go.
Yeah, we do. Hi, Ro.
Haru, you need to turn your
Video. Yep.
Awesome. Full team is here. The squad is here. I will share my screen. If you guys can let me know if you guys see this. Can I get a thumbs up if you see the screen? Okay, cool. So hi everyone, I am the product manager on Dragonfly, and today I'm going to walk you through what the team and I have been tackling over the past 8 weeks. So I'm going to start off with our problem space. So according to ZipEye, in 2021, it took an average of 21 to 80 job applications to land one job offer. And according to our research, over 78% of users are using some form of organizational tool to help keep track of the positions that they've just applied to. However, the process would be easier if, and these are some of the things that we've heard through our research, if sites had an easier way to keep track of all the jobs they've applied to and kept the job descriptions handy, if information is autofilled, and if there were reminders to apply. And if I could, keep track of what jobs needed to be followed up on, or when I last reached out to or spoke to someone at the company. And so there's an opportunity for our product. And this is something that the team and I were very, very interested in pursuing, because we all know how difficult it is to go through the job hunting process and how stressful it is. And so we've created Dragonfly, where you can keep your job hunt organized. I'd like to introduce you to our personas, Olivia, one of them in which they probably fall towards the larger end of the spectrum when they're applying for jobs. She's looking for essentially quantity. So she's applying for all things that is in her reach. She is looking for product management though, and you'll be able to see in the live demo, I will be acting as Olivia. On the opposite hand of the spectrum, we have Theodore. He's essentially very strategic in his approach when he's looking for jobs. And so he's only applying for those jobs that checks off his criteria. And when it comes to the, I want to make sure you guys can see this. So when it comes to feature prioritization, we actually leveraged the RICE framework, which evaluates reach, impact, confidence, and effort in order to distill these 3 features that we have today. So we tackled 3 elements when it came to the MVP. We focused on the dashboard card view, the dashboard board view, as well as LinkedIn autofill. When it comes to some of our user research learnings, I'm going to breeze through this because I really want to be able to share with you our live demo. Low fidelity, we learned that users really loved the card view. They also love being able to see different views through columns, which you can manipulate, and I can show you that in a little bit, as well as LinkedIn autofill. When it came to our high fidelity test, we found that people were really interested in the user interface of our card view, as well as grid layout, sorting, and filtering, but we actually had quite a bit of challenge when it came to the user experience of our board view, which is why we actually attempted a second high fidelity test once we fixed things to move things into the UX board view. And until we got that right, that's when we moved things into the build. And so in order to kind of share with you our product roadmap moving forward, the team and I are looking to pursue this and continue this project. And so this is what we're looking at as our product roadmap. In the next 4 months, we're looking to add some of those other valued features that we found that users were interested in, such as reminders and web extensions. Looking further, we're looking to actually integrate other job boards, because right now we're still focused on LinkedIn, and then expanding other features such as uploading documents, as well as a performance overview, as well as tips and recommendations. So I'm going to pivot to the product roadmap now, and I want to make sure that you guys can see my screen still. Can you see the LinkedIn post here? Yeah, okay. So this is a position that Olivia is looking to apply for, and I'm going to ask Olivia. So this is a position from Uber for early retention. What I'm going to do in order to add this to my card in Dragonfly is, these are some of the card view itself. I'm going to add a card because I'm interested and I just applied for this position actually. What I'm going to do is navigate into this link, copy this over, and navigate into Dragonfly, and then paste this in here in the application link. This is then going to auto-populate. So this is the product manager position for early retention from Uber. Today's date is the 2nd, so I'm going to put that in here, and I just applied this. I'm going to then change this color to orange just because I want to be reminded that I just applied to this. So I'm going to actually go applied, and then I'm going to save this. And because there's a bit of a bug, we're going into board view and then back into card view. We're going to be able to see this pop up here as a product manager position for early retention, and I just applied to this. So what you're going to see here is different column views that I learned and shared about earlier. This is something that the users really enjoyed seeing. I'm then going to share with you our board view very quickly, just because I think it's very interesting. This is, for those of you who know, this is very similar to a Kanban where you can kind of create this and personalize it the way that you see fit. So here I'm actually going to say applied because this is a section that I want to share with you, the card that I just applied for. So I'm going to add a card here, and you can see the cards that I have already populated in my system here. I'm going to then click applied and add this to the section, and then see this land here. I can then, personalize this as well to say screened or need to apply in order to kind of pull things over the way I'd like. Or as Olivia, I might actually put in other columns like project management or manager positions because I am open to different positions. I know I'm kind of over time, so I'm going to then kind of share with you, the rest of the team that's been working hard on this. Our product designer, Stefan, who's been all behind the scenes, especially when it comes to hi-fi, lo-fi. He's the man for this, as well as the man that has put together this beautiful, lovely background. And then our hard at work software engineers, both Mark and Hyro, and our biggest supporter and backbone, Dave. So I'll open up the floor for questions, as well as invite my team to help me answer them as well.
All right, wonderful. Thank you guys so much. We do have a question from Mish that says, what was the initial inspiration that sparked creating this with a card view?
I can go ahead and answer that. You guys hear me? Cool. Yeah, so when we did our user interviews initially, we found that a lot of people aren't really even using a consistent way of organizing their job applications. Most are using like some type of Google Doc or sheet. So we really wanted to make this a visual way that people can easily find where their jobs are. And that's also why we opted for different types of views for the grid view, column view. Some people prefer like a list view, some people prefer in 4 columns or 3. We found that pretty consistently through our user research that people had different ways of wanting to see their information, and they all loved the cards altogether.
That's awesome. Thank you. There's not a ton of questions. Everyone's saying, wow, blown away. I could use this now. There is another question from Mish, though. What were your biggest challenges that you faced through the entire process?
Big scoping.
Yeah, I think like one of the biggest challenges that we faced as a team was kind of just like prioritizing features, since there was a lot of feedback that we got from the users that we interviewed, and there was a long list of features that that they gave us ideas for, such as like building a Chrome extension, reminders, some other stuff like different job boards that they use, so that we had to build in. We thought of building integrations to those, but so really just working with the time that we had, so 4 weeks of development to really scope down our project down to like what were the most useful features that we believe that our users would get the most use of, and maybe like boost the productivity in their job search. Really just like scoping our project down to like the most valuable features and given the time that we could develop.
Yeah, from my end, I would say one of the things that I learned a lot was communicating with my team. Actually, this is for me was the key for the whole experience. I noticed that communicating especially with Mark, will keep our code consistent, because right at the beginning we have some issues. He might be using a different technology than me and might have some conflicts. So after we start communicating, we get better results. And also by the end of the process, like, because me and Mark was the person that were working most on the code. Sometimes Steven and Amy will keep asking what we were doing, so that was important as well to keep them on knowing what we're doing, right? So yeah, most of the thing communication does. That's it.
Great, that's awesome. There are a lot of questions now. Everyone popped in after I said that, called them out a little bit. But one last question, and then you guys can hop in the chat to answer the rest. I guess one of the things you kind of started to touch on it with the challenges you faced, but what were your biggest learnings for each of you, if you can speak to that?
Collaboration in the sense of knowing that the best answer in the room is just the best answer. It doesn't matter if I'm a designer or Pyro, Mark, and Amy are different roles. Like, we are just trying to set out and answer the problem and fix on the issue. So just looking for the best answer in the room.
For me personally, it was. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, for me, it was just like working to learn to work in a cross-functional team. It was really like the first experience that I've gotten to work with a designer and a dedicated product manager, and navigating the time zone difference, which is something that was really tough. Going to school and then hopping on a meeting from 8 to 10. But it was really rewarding in the end to really see all the hard work accumulate at the end. And see this product built from start to finish.
Ira, you go ahead. I'll go last.
Okay, yeah. Well, for me, it was to honestly to keep up with the team expectation. In comparison with Mark, I don't have as much experience as him, and that kind of was. I was a little bit frustrated at the beginning, but then I got some real strong support from the whole team. Mark will jump in a call with me to try to solve some of my bugs, so that helped me a lot to kind of navigate the whole process. And honestly, I did like the agile rituals. I learned a lot with Amy. She kept us pushing forward every time, and I mean pushing in a good way. Of course, she was never a pushy person, but she always were cheering for us. And so yeah, that's for me.
Thanks, Ira. I think for me as a PM in particular, it was just all about ruthlessly prioritizing, especially because this program is 8 weeks, making sure that we're really prioritizing the development of what really matters and what makes the most sense, especially for our end user.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Amazing presentation. Definitely jump into the chat and answer as many of the questions that popped up that you can. All right. Well, if everyone is able to, please do stick around. We can network with each other in the chat as well as talk as well. I'll wrap it up really quickly, short and sweet. It has been an amazing 8 weeks. You guys are the first cohort that I've seen go from the beginning to the end, and it is incredible, blown away. Like I said, trying not to cry, so I'm keeping it short. But yeah, just to hear all of your learnings, all of your experiences, how much you guys really collaborated with each other and learned from each other. I hope I didn't annoy you guys too much with my DMs and constant messaging, but it was amazing to see where you guys started and where you are now. And this part's always so hard. It's such an exciting meeting, but at the same time, we're saying goodbye. So definitely stick around in the community, keep networking, keep us updated. We all want to hear when you land those amazing jobs, and keep working on our product and getting your own start. I know there's a few people in the chat that said they wanted to join Dragonfly, and I'm so definitely a lot of opportunities for that there as well. I'll pass it off to Shifumi to see if he needs to add anything as well. Otherwise, I'll just keep rambling on so you guys never leave.
Awesome. Hey everyone. Can everyone hear me? I couldn't stop smiling throughout the entire time. It was really incredible to see the amazing hard work that you've all put in. Again, one thing I always say is that 8 weeks is an incredibly short amount of time to build anything. And for you all to come here today and excel and showcase these amazing products, like it's really inspiring. Like, you all inspire me, and I learn something new every single time. And I kid you not by saying that this is like by far the most impressive set of products that I've ever seen. This is our 13th cohort. We've done 13 iterations, and we've all come being present, and you've blown all of us away. So thank you all for being here, being present, learning, dreaming, like having conflicts, but obviously overcoming them, and even just like embracing failure as learnings, and just like pushing forward, because that resilience is really what it takes to be successful in this industry. So thank you all for choosing COLAB to be part of your journey, and we're very inspired by you all, and thank you very much. Shout out and thank you all to our mentors. Every single one of you would not be able to do this without you. Dave, Ashika, Rachel, Nish, Asha, every single person has really contributed to everyone's progress, everyone's growth. So I'd like to thank you all there. Thank you so much to Beth as well for just being everyone's cheerleader, being there for everyone. And it's really remarkable to see where we all are today. So yeah, thank you all. I don't want to like keep rambling. Great work to everyone. I'm very inspired by you all. I'm happy, I'm excited. The presentations were amazing. Everyone was super engaged. So many things in the chat. Everyone was so supportive. So thank you all for being amazing, like great community members. And yeah, looking forward to like connecting with any one of you. And yeah, feel free to like reach out for anything else. But yeah, otherwise, have a good rest of your day. We do have like 10 minutes. So feel free, if you like to just like stick around, if you like to ask any questions, we'll open up breakout rooms. Feel free to just like join a couple and just like see where everyone's at. Feel free to just like chat and like relax. Otherwise, you can also just like go about your days and have a great long weekend. It's a long weekend for the folks here in North America. So I'm sure you all deserve it because it's been a hectic past 8 weeks. So definitely take that entire weekend to just like relax or recharge. So thank you very much from myself and Helen and for the rest of the COLAB team, Francis, Beth. Thank you so much. You belong in tech, and have a great rest of your day. Over to you, Beth.
We should probably change the settings so people can unmute themselves if they want to stick around and chat.
Yes, updated now. We are opening the breakout rooms now. So I'll open about 5 or so. So just feel free to join whichever one works for you. And it would also stop recording now.